Wednesday evening. I'm Chief Meteorologist Emily Walls. So we have several different topics that we're going to be discussing tonight. The first one is going to be about the strawberry moon that rose last night. We're still going to get a pretty good glimpse of that today. But also, we're going to be touching on wildfire smoke yet again. We are still dealing with that across the area. And there's actually a new wildfire that's really exploded in size across Southern California that's causing some impacts as well. So we're going to detail that. But first, I wanted to start off with this gorgeous, gorgeous photo of the strawberry moon. We received this last night from Peg Donnellan, and this is as the moon was rising last night. And take a look at that beautiful reddish tint that we have. So typically every single year when we have the strawberry moon, it is a little bit of a reddish tint, but it's really been accentuated this year because of the wildfire smoke. But the strawberry moon is the last full moon of spring. It officially rose last night. You're still going to get a good glimpse of it tonight, and it's going to be very low in the horizon. That's why it's actually got that beautiful reddish pinkish tone to it. But I also had another viewer write in a question a couple days ago asking, why are these sunrises and sunsets so red when we have the smoke in the air? And here's a couple reasons why that you can see on the screen. But really what it comes down to is the smoke particles in the sky and in the atmosphere. It scatters the sun's light. So as that happens, it's going to scatter out the shorter wavelengths, which is the blues, the greens, and then what's left is going to be the reds and the oranges. Those have the longer wavelengths. Then also, whenever the sun or the moon, for that fact, is lower in the sky, it has more of the atmosphere to go through to reach your eyes, for that light to reach your eyes. So it's already going to typically be a little more oranger or reddish as it's rising or setting in the sky, but it's really accentuated when you have that smoke and the haze in the air, because that haze and those smoke particles are going to be filtering out those shorter wavelengths. Let's talk about the air quality, because there's a lot of locations today very similar to the last couple of days dealing with poor air quality, but tonight it's actually worse in many portions of the area. You can see all of the reds, the oranges showing up across the Great Lakes region, the upper Midwest, places like North Dakota, portions of South Dakota, and into Montana listed as unhealthy with the air quality tonight. So that's unhealthy for all groups. And then the orange shading that you're seeing on your map here, that means that it's unhealthy for sensitive groups. And there's a large swath of that going from North Dakota through Minnesota over into Wisconsin. And even here locally, we've been dealing with, for the most part, moderate air quality, but at times we've been unhealthy for sensitive groups. Right now across the Great Lakes region, including Michigan, northern Indiana, northern Ohio, portions of Chicagoland, as well as Wisconsin, notice how the majority of the area is considered to be in that moderate category. But again, all of that orange stretching through Michigan, across the lake, back into portions of areas like Milwaukee, down into the Chicago area. Us too, we are dealing with that unhealthy for sensitive groups levels of particulate matter in our atmosphere. So unfortunately, some of that has been able to work its way down to the ground surface today, which is why a lot of you are probably feeling at least some effects. You may not notice it unless you're going outside and running, or say you're biking, exercising outside. You'll probably notice some respiratory issues, or maybe even a little bit of a burning in your throat. That is something that could be possible with the levels that are as high as they are. So futurecast smoke here. This is going to be running us throughout the next 15 or 16 hours. And you'll notice that over Chicagoland at this point, we're kind of highlighted mainly in gray, but every now and then we start to kind of get into that yellow shading again, and that's the denser smoke. But you'll notice here, as this map kind of runs through tonight and into tomorrow, a lot of the denser smoke, it really, really is focused across portions of southern Canada, over toward North Dakota, especially northeastern North Dakota, streaming down into Minnesota, and then across northern Wisconsin, and then at times into northern Michigan as well. But we also have another batch of smoke in the atmosphere, some denser smoke that's just south of our area. Well, today we had really strong southwesterly winds, so we did tap into some of that today, although tomorrow wind direction for a lot of us should change. But regardless, we're still going to have that smoke in the atmosphere again tomorrow and likely through a good portion of this week. Let's bounce on over to Southern California. So we now have the ranch fire, this one is being called, and it actually broke out around 2 p.m. yesterday. So this has only been going on for shortly over 24 hours. But in the first 4 hours since this broke out yesterday at around 2:30 p.m. or so, it grew to 2,000 acres in size. And then by yesterday night, so last night when the sun was going down, it was already up to 4,000 acres. So right now, as it stands, the latest update is showing that the ranch fire is up to 4,205 acres, and it's only 10% contained. So this is to give you some reference here. This broke out near Apple Valley, which is just east and southeast of places like Hesperia, Victorville. That's where this fire is located. And I know it looks fairly small on this map here, but again, that's 4,200 acres currently on fire. So of course, that's contributing to poor air quality across portions of Southern California as well. Drought monitor now. This is why we're seeing the issue with the wildfires in places like California. And as we know, this time of the year, and especially during the summer, it's very common to have fires breaking out in portions of California. And right now we have severe drought in the exact location that this fire has broken out. Again, that's the ranch fire. Just north of the ranch fire, drought conditions are at least a little bit better, but regardless, across Southern California, they're really at a deficit of rainfall right now. There's an extreme drought, an exceptional drought all across portions of the southwestern U.S. That's all of the red shading that you're seeing on this map. Those darker reds, those darker hues showing up, that means exceptional drought conditions. Now, locally, things have been looking a little bit better for us recently. In the last couple of weeks, we've had scattered showers and thunderstorms rolling through, and hopefully that's going to be making a dent for us when we get our new data coming out tomorrow morning. Every single week, Thursday morning is when we get the updated drought monitor. But notice the percent of normal rainfall that we've received here in the Chicagoland area over the last 30 days. So a lot of us, if I were to have shown you this map about 2 to 3 weeks ago, a lot of these numbers were coming back around 30%, 40%. But you'll notice they're quite a bit higher now. So a lot of us have actually received a decent amount of rainfall in the last about week and a half. So these numbers are beginning to inch upwards. That's wonderful news for us. So we're now, a lot of us in the 50% range, 60% range. For those of you in places like LaSalle County, southern Grundy County, into Kankakee, and then portions of northwest Indiana, where you don't see that yellow shading, but it's actually no shading or the green shading, that's the category that you want to be in, right? Because that means that you're getting almost your near normal percentage of rainfall over the last 30 days. So some portions of the area, we're getting there. But when it comes to the drought monitor, again, a lot of us are still considered to be in a moderate drought. And then there's actually a severe drought that's just west of Rockford. For those of you in the southwestern sections where we have picked up some heavier downpours recently, you are in abnormally dry conditions. But again, the new data comes out tomorrow morning. I'm looking forward to seeing that because I do think with some of the heavier downpours that we've had come through over the last week, that hopefully we've made at least a little bit of dent in some locations across Chicagoland. The severe weather outlook for this evening, this is put out by the Storm Prediction Center, and you can see that northern Iowa is kind of highlighted in this yellow shading here. That's a slight risk, which means it's a category 2 of 5, or scattered severe thunderstorms are going to be possible throughout this evening and tonight. And then the marginal risk area previously over the last couple of days, portions of northeastern Illinois, including Chicagoland, we were actually highlighted in that green shade, that marginal risk, a level 105, but that has since kind of been shied off toward the north and the northwest. So as far as severe thunderstorms are concerned, I don't think we're going to see that here locally, but we could, very small chance, but we could see a couple of the remnants of these showers and thunderstorms rolling into the area late tonight and then possibly into the very early portion of tomorrow morning. So the radar right now showing that we have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings that are posted right now in northeastern Iowa. And all of this activity, it is kind of on an east-southeasterly track, although I do think that a lot of this should really begin to lose strength, especially as we lose daytime heating. Of course, we have a lot of heat out there right now to work with, but as the sun goes down, of course, those temperatures are going to drop, and that's going to provide these storms with at least a little bit less fuel. So hopefully these will weaken before they make it into our area. Take a look at the satellite and radar here. So this frontal boundary that you see that's just kind of draped just to our north, that's going to be sinking southward and then moving to the north and then sinking southward. So just kind of ebbing and flowing across the region over the next couple of days. And because of that, we do have scattered showers and thunderstorms in your forecast, not just tomorrow, very small chance tomorrow, by the way, but we do again on Friday, likely into Saturday as well. And based on exactly where this frontal boundary is, it's going to dictate how warm our temperatures are going to be able to be. So for those of us us that are on the north side of this front over the coming days, we're going to be cool in the 70s. If you're well south of the front, very easily mid to upper 80s. I'm going to break down all of those details locally on what you can expect as far as temperatures go for your region, coming up right after this break. Welcome back. It was beautiful here locally. We had temperatures that were so summer-like, and the beaches were packed from what I could see from a lot of different camera views, but also I went out to the beach earlier today too. It was stunning. We ended up in the 90s, 92 degrees is what we made it to at O'Hare. We started off in the 60s, so we were above average as far as our low temperatures and our high temperatures. And even though it was very hot today, we didn't have a lot of humidity, so it was bearable. It felt okay because our dew point temperatures were only in the 50s. Whenever dew point temps reach the 60s, by the way, that's when we really start to feel and notice that humidity in the air. We didn't really have that today. It was very comfortable, even though it was very hot. We had a record high temperature of 97 degrees that was set back in 1933, but of course, we fell about 5 degrees shy of that. Let's take a look at our water temperatures. Speaking of beach and beach weather, it's still very, very cold, so plan ahead if you are taking any beach trips over the next couple of days because we do have warm weather in your forecast, but lake waters currently are ranging from the upper 50s to low 60s. At latest check, the Chicago shoreline was coming in at 62 degrees earlier today. Your forecast high temperatures for tomorrow, it is going to be noticeably cooler, but still a really beautiful day. You'll notice how most areas, especially farther inland away from the lake, are warming up into the mid to upper 80s, but notice right along the lakefront tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be much cooler. So unlike today, we're going to have an onshore flow tomorrow, so that's going to send temperatures tumbling midday into the afternoon. So lakefront communities are going to be dropping into the 60s and the 70s, whereas elsewhere and farther inland, we're very easily looking at mid to upper 80s tomorrow. So it really depends on where you're at tomorrow, and same goes for Friday too, on where that frontal boundary is going to end up. But your 5-day forecast, most areas, this is specifically for O'Hare. That's what we forecast our numbers for, but I'm going to kind of walk you through the next couple of days on what it will be like in your location. So at O'Hare, near O'Hare, couple miles inland, you're easily going to be in the mid 80s the next couple of days. However, for those of you that are in places like LaSalle County, DeKalb County, if you're in Kendall, Grundy, Kankakee, even portions of southern Will, over into most of northwest Indiana, you're very easily looking at mid to upper 80s. Thursday, likely into Friday as well. And then going into this weekend, Sunday does appear like it's going to be our cooler day. Of course, Sunday is Father's Day, and it looks like we're going to kind of cool things down, although we are expected to stay dry. So the futurecast showing that we do have this frontal boundary. I'm going to detail this on the 9 p.m. news coming up here very shortly on Fox 32, but we are going to look at some scattered showers for the next couple of days. I will time those out for you right at 9 o'clock. We'll see you then.